All right. Welcome, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of all ages, of all nationalities, of all interests, of all hobbies, of whatever it is that you are and whatever it is that has brought you here. Truly welcome. And if you've managed to make it because you were paying attention, if you've managed to make it at the right time because you saw that we changed the time of the stream forward about 8 hours, then even better on you. You're an absolute champion, and I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. Now, if you don't yet know why we've changed the time of the stream, you'll find out soon, because there are some fun surprises in store for us later. But before we get into today's very exciting and interesting lesson about what it really takes to be good with women, the very first thing that we need to do, you already know what it is. Because you've been coming to these streams, because you've been paying attention and improving your game for over a year now. Is that you? Is that you, Australian Adam? That is you. And look, I'm speaking to you. Australia Adam, I'm very proud of you for making it here at the right time today. Good on you. Now, I want everybody, especially Australia Adam, to join me by finding yourself some sort of beverage. I have an Oh Hoppy Day Yogi-O beer, and crack that bad boy open if you need to. If yours is in a glass or a mug or some other sort of beverage vessel, that is perfectly okay. And join me now as we lift our glasses in a glorious cheers with chaps. Cheers. Oh, it is not that good of a beer. It looks like an interesting flavor, and it is somehow the most boring possible beer flavor in the world. It's right up there with like Bud Light. Cheers to you, Australia, Adam. Now, let's go ahead and jump into today's lesson. So today we are talking about what it really takes from you to be good with women. Not to meet a girl or to just find some random girl, or, to get kind of a girlfriend. There was this girl in my biology class, and I think maybe she likes me. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about something that you luck into. I'm not even talking about, I went to a bar the other night and this girl was out on the prowl. We had a few drinks and then she took me home. Okay, great. You got lucky. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is to be good with women, to know how to do that on command, to know how to identify exactly who the girls are who are interested in you, exactly what you need to be saying to them, exactly how you need to be acting with them to be able to go up to and attract any type of woman in the world, no matter where you go. What does that take? Because that's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream. That's what guys always tell me. That's the dream, is I want to be attractive to everyone. Obviously not everyone, but because that's unreasonable. But I want to be able to attract any type of girl that I want, or at the very least, the type or types that I'm most interested in. I want to be able to walk up to them and instantly start up a conversation, be attractive to them, keep a conversation going. Cheers, Paul. Keep a conversation going. Get them into me, get them interested, turn that interest into attraction. Take a phone number, maybe get a kiss right there, turn it into an Insta date. All of those things. That is what it means to be good with women to most men. Might mean something different to you, but that's the definition we're going with today. So, if that's what you want, here are the 5 steps you will need to follow. These are the things that it takes to be really good with women. The first step is introspection. Know thyself, good sir. You need to figure out who the hell you are. Now, This sounds like the easiest step, right? Oh, well, that's easy. I already know who I am, Papa Jack. I already know who I am. Okay, cool. What are the 5 most attractive traits to women about you? Hey there, Angel. What's up, buddy? What are the 5 most attractive traits about you to women? Specifically, to the types of women that you're interested in. What are they? You know yourself, right? So you already know how other people view you too, right? You already know how what you think in your head comes out exactly how you think it, right? And then it's received exactly how you wanted it to be received, right? No, no. That's not the case for anybody. That's not the case for me. I just flubbed that sentence as I was trying to explain, getting the thoughts out of my mouth. No, that's difficult. And to get better at that, you have to really know what it is that you're thinking, know exactly what it is that you want to say, know why you want to say it, know what effect you're trying to achieve with that. Where does that all begin? It begins with knowing who you are, what it is that you want, what it is that you have to offer. Now, we've talked multiple times before about figuring out what your offer is and intentionally crafting your offer. That's very important. That's part of this, figuring out what you have or what you bring to the table that people want. Now, before we go too far with this, some guys might be stopping right now and thinking, well, Jack, you're just talking about money, muscles, and fame, right? Okay, cool. That's the limp-wristed response. That's the NPC response. Because now you're just trying to make up excuses for yourself for why you aren't doing the hard work of actually getting to know yourself. That's bullshit and you know it. Look at me. I don't have money. I don't have muscles. I don't have fame. Yet somehow, I've figured this stuff out. Yet somehow I've been highly successful with women and you haven't. What do you think the difference is? It's not the money, muscles, or fame, right? So let's start with this first step of introspection, of really getting to know yourself and of what's going on inside your head, of what you are, of who you are, of what it is that you have to offer, figuring out how you can minimize your weaknesses and maximize your positives, figuring out how, okay, maybe I'm not that great looking, but if I've got a weak chin, I can grow a beard to cover that up. Cool. We're going to minimize a weakness. All right. I don't have that great of a body, but if I dress in a way that is slimming, hey, that helps. If I don't have a lot going on in the looks department, what do I bring in the personality department? Can I make up for my deficit in looks with a ton of personality? Yeah, you absolutely can. I'm walking proof of that. Has to be a fun personality, has to be an interesting personality. But Papa Jack, what if I'm not that interesting? What if I'm not that fun? Well, then you've got to max out in some of your other stats, right? You've got to work on your looks a bit more. You can also work on your personality. I went through a whole video where I talked about how to start practicing your conversation and humor skills. Wasn't that just a couple of weeks ago? I think it was. Yeah, so we've been through all this stuff before too. So stop making excuses, get to know yourself, figure out what's actually going on. Because if you don't know that, you can't move on to step 2. Step 2, who plus what plus where equals how. Guys always focus on the how. They always want to know, how can I do this? What should I say to her? What should I do? How should I approach her? How should I hold my hands? What angle should I come in at? Should I offer to buy her a drink? Should I call her cute? Should I compliment her glasses? What should I do here? Stop. Relax. You're worried about the how, but you haven't done anything on the other side of the equation yet. First, who? Figure out who it is that you're trying to meet. And if your answer is somebody, anybody, I don't care who, then you're going to come off as needy, desperate, and highly unattractive. Do not do that. Figure out exactly what type of girl it is that you want to meet. If you don't yet know the types, go over to the blog, thesoulplayer.com. There's a thing at the top that says the types of Korean girls. Yes, I know it's Korean. This applies globally. How do I know that? Because I've been to 30 different countries and I've seen this applied everywhere in the world because I've coached guys from 10 or 12 more countries and it's worked everywhere. Trust me on this. The types are universal. Figure out which type it is you want. That's your who. Next, your what. Figure out what type of relationship it is you want from her. The biggest mistake guys make whenever they get to this step is they say, oh, let's just have fun. And like, I'm open to kind of just whatever it is, wherever it goes, if it's cool, then it's cool. And if it's not, then what? You said you're open to it, right? If you don't set your boundaries on both sides of this is the minimum I'm willing to accept from a relationship, this is the maximum I'm willing to accept from a relationship. If you don't set those boundaries on both sides, you will get taken for a ride. You will either get drug along by some Tinder hookup who drags you into a long-term relationship that you didn't want, or you'll be trying to talk to some girl who you really want to date her. And because you're just cool with anything, yeah, whatever, man, whatever. She's going to drag your ass back down into the friend zone. Figure out exactly what type of relationship it is that you want and aim for that. This should also match the types of girls that you're looking for. Because if you tell me that you're looking for marriage, but you're only looking for sluts, don't believe you. One part of that is a lie. Figure this out. Make sure it's congruent. Make sure it makes sense. Next, the where. Figure out in your mind, because you can do this just in your mind. You don't even have to go anywhere yet. You're going to run the experiment in a minute, but first you need to create your hypothesis before you run the experiment. So if I know who, if I take this type of girl and I want this type of relationship with this type of girl, where do I think that type of girl who's looking for that relationship is going to be? Okay, that's your where. Figure that out. For maybe you want a worker bee type who's interested in short-term relationships, flings, nothing too serious, but more than just a one-night stand. Nothing too serious, though. Cool. Where's she going to be? She's probably going to be at an after-work bar that has a nice happy hour around downtown where she probably works. Well, how do you know that, Jack? Because, man, she's a worker bee who's just looking for a little bit of fun. Like, that's where she's going to be. She might be at a lounge bar. Like, the details might make a difference, but this is just a hypothesis, isn't it? Because the next part is you actually go out and check. You go out there. You go out there with the intent to talk to them, because now you're wondering about the how. Don't worry about the how. Now that you know the who and you know the what, if the where is correct, then you'll already know what to say and how to act because you're in that culture of that place with that type of girl. It makes it so much easier because it limits and constrains the things, the possibilities of what you can say, of what you could do, of how you could act. It constrains them to the culture of that type of person in that type of place. How would any reasonable, normal person act in that culture? That's your how. Next, part 3. This is where we get into the really fun bit. Part 3, pay the piper. Make your changes. I've told you what you have to do for the first parts, is figuring out who you are and who she is. Cool. Easy, right? You can do all that sitting in the comfort of your mother's basement. But now you have to actually make some changes. Everything in life has a cost. Most of them actually aren't monetary, but everything in life has a cost. So maybe you need to slim down because that's something you figured out. The cost you have to pay is going to the gym. Or maybe the cost you have to pay is not drinking as much beer or any beer. Maybe, depending on what your situation is, how much do you need to change? Figure out what the changes that you need to make. Figure out what the cost is you have to pay for that change to happen in your life, and then pay the piper. Actually do it. Or don't. Or don't. Because you can stay just like you are and keep getting the same results you are right now. And if you're fine with that, then that's fine. Right? Like, this is not me telling you how to live your life. It's the opposite. It's me telling you how to figure out how you want to live your life. If you're comfortable with the results that you're getting now, if you like them, then don't change things, right? But if you want to change things, you have to change things. Yes, right? Makes sense, doesn't it? So figure out what the cost is that you have to pay and then pay it. For a lot of you guys, that comes down to this next part, because this is the cost that most guys simply refuse to pay. 4, fail a lot. You have to be ready to go out to approach girls, to try lines, to try wardrobes, to try fashion statements, to try fucking fish on your head or guitars on your back or monkeys with a red hole for a butt or whatever it is. Because the only way to find what works for you is to try and fail. Sounds like it sucks, right? Doesn't have to. You can have a lot of fun doing it. And you can test a lot of different hypotheses, a lot of different ideas. Just try things, anything at all, whatever comes to your mind. Try it, see if it works. As long as you aren't breaking any laws, right? Don't try the, hey, I don't know you, titty grab. That's nope, don't do that one. That's not one to try. But anything else, right? Any kind of line, any kind of opener. I didn't know for years. I didn't know that you could approach girls and meet them on the subway and that they were open to it and receptive, because I'd never seen anyone do it. I'd never heard anyone talk about it. And so one day I tried it. And do you know what happened? It was magnificently successful. So much so that I wrote multiple articles about it on the blog, and then I built it into my actual coaching program here in Seoul up until, the Rona hit and everyone was all masked up for a few years. And so, but by the way, they've removed that now. So subways are fair game yet again. The only way that I learned about that, though, was because I tried something wild. I tried something that I'd never thought of before. It doesn't sound that wild whenever you talk about it, right? Oh yeah, I just went up to girls on the subway and started flirting with them. That doesn't sound that wild, but it sure did at the moment. At the time, it seemed like, well, this is a terrible idea. All that stuff in your head that's telling you this is a terrible idea, don't do that. They're all gonna laugh at you. All that's your ego. Kill your ego. Your ego's your enemy. I'm going to repeat that in every single live stream for good reason, because it's the most important thing you can learn. Your ego is your enemy. Whenever your ego starts telling you not to do something, punch it in the face and then double down and do it even harder, because that is a sure sign that you are on the road to success. Obviously, not anything putting you in physical danger, right? Do I really need to couch these statements with these stupid fucking social Darwinism disclaimers? If you're dumb enough to think like, oh, my ego told me not to go high five the bear, like, come on, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. But whenever your ego tells you, don't talk to a girl here. Oh, don't say that. What if she's offended? What if she's offended? Try it. Fail. Maybe you try something, and even though it fails with her, you have so much fun doing it that you say, you know what? I'm going to figure out a way to actually build that into my routine whenever I'm talking to girls. For me, that exact thing is why whenever I'm meeting a Korean girl, one of the first things I do is I always call her a racist. Sounds fucking wacky, right? Why would you do that, Jack? That can't possibly help. No, it doesn't. But it's really funny, because I built it into the routine, and they laugh every single time. Every single time. It's almost like when you try something and fail, and then keep trying and keep failing, and then you figure out how to do it right, you get good at it. But that's the price that you have to pay, is you have to be willing to fail. Now, let me give you some good news, because most of this has just been tough love straight through. But the good news is that you have permission to fail. It's perfectly okay, especially when you're first getting started. You need to give yourself permission to fail. And if you need it from an outside source, I'm giving it to you right now. No matter who you are, where you are, how good or how bad at game you are, I, Papa Jack, am officially giving you permission to fail and be okay with it. To get back up, dust yourself off, and try again. You don't need any recrimination. You don't need any sort of punishment for yourself for, oh, I should have said this. Oh, I should have done that. No, none of that. None of that. You have full permission from me to go out, to try talking to women, and to fail miserably too. And it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. Because I'll get to you in a minute, Testes. Testes666. What a fucking username. This guy shows up, Testes666. Okay. All right. I'm giving you permission to go out and fail and do all of this stuff. And it's okay, because you're going to use it to grow. Because step 5, adapt, improvise, and overcome. This is exactly what you need to be doing. Whenever you go out, you have an idea in your head of, okay, I want to talk to this girl at this place at this time, and I have this whole thing planned out in my head. And you know what? 100% of the time, 100%, not even 99.9, 100% of the time, it's not going to go like you thought. It's definitely not. So be ready to adapt. Make up some stupid shit, improvise, and overcome. How do you overcome? How do you get good at this? Remember steps 3 and 4, right? Make the changes that you need. So whenever you try something and you see like, oh shit, this isn't working, make the change and then still fail. You basically just need to iterate until you find your way out. And the best way to iterate is to adapt in the moment, is to figure out something new, is to try something new. Improvise. Notice what's going on around you. Notice what kind of reaction you're getting from her. And then you need to change it. And how do you change it? I don't know. I don't know, man. There's no answer to that. I don't even know how to change it whenever I get into weird situations like that. You just make something up. Try your best. Go for it. Doesn't always work. Most of the time it doesn't. But you know what? Here's the thing, is if you figured out steps 1 and 2 really well, then the other parts actually aren't as important. You might think that they are because, oh, well, if you say this thing that makes her really mad or that offends her so much or whatever, it doesn't matter if you already know who you are really well, if you're completely congruent, and if you already know who she is, and you have basically tailored everything about what you're presenting of yourself to her, then she's going to be willing to forgive an awful lot of stuff. Because guess what? She says dumb shit too. She says things and she's like, oh my God, why did I just say that? What the hell's going on? Like my brain is just short circuiting. And so she understands if you find yourself in that situation. And if you own it and you just double down on it, she might not even notice. So if you've done steps 1 and 2 correctly, the rest just becomes about, I just had the word. Shit, I'm drawing a huge blank here. What's the word where something's almost there and then you're just getting it the last bit in. You're fuck, I don't know. Anyway, the rest of it is just rounding out the rough edges. Basically, it's just filling in the top 10%, because the first 90% are those first two bits. If you're coming across congruent and confident, which you are because you know yourself and you understand all the parts about yourself, good and bad, you understand which parts of yourself you're showing to her because you understand step 2 of who she is, what kind of relationship you want, where she's going to be. The rest is just gravy. It's just icing on the cake. It's just the glitter in the balloon, because I still can't remember the fucking word, but not too important. So, this is what it takes to actually get good with women. Is you need to do these things. If you follow these steps, if you actually apply these things, you're not going to have any trouble. And you're not just going to get a girl or some girls or just get lucky, but you're going to get the girls you want pretty much every time. So, if that's something that you want, follow these steps. If, however, you understand these steps but aren't quite sure how to apply them directly to yourself in your life, how to do that, then you need to set up a free call with me. Set up a one-on-one call with me. I will go through this with you and help you create an entire strategy for exactly what you need to do, what kind of changes you need to make, where you need to be going, what kinds of girls you need to be talking to. And you can do all that right now at realjacknorth.com. Go over there. There's a button that says book a free call now. You can sign up for a call time with me, and I will personally guide you through creating your very own personalized plan of what to do to get good with women. Now, with all that said, it's time for the big reveal. You remember earlier I told you we moved the stream time, and the reason why was going to be revealed later on. Well, we are just about there, because today we have an almost full panel. Today we have the kid coming in from California, Paul coming in from Norway, and Julius coming in from South Korea, where he's finally made it over. And aren't we proud of him?
Hey,
What's going on, guys?
not much. What's going on?
Cheers, boys. Glad to have you all.
Cheers.
And by the way, testes, to you, man, if you want the money, muscles, and fame, that's a whole different set of things that you have to pay. But actually, the process is the exact same as those 5 steps. Just you alter the goal. So, how exciting is this? We have almost a full panel. We have a lot of friends in the stream today joining us live. And we have a lot of Discord questions. The kid, how are you doing this morning, buddy? You okay?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good. I really appreciate you joining us. I know it's stupid o'clock for you over there, but you're a champion, a trooper, and a true friend. I appreciate it. You ready to jump into the Q&A?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Let's start with our Discord questions.
Yeah, definitely. So the first Discord questions, first one, I noticed you weren't really calling girls cute in your openers. They all seem on the lower end of direct. Any reason for that for the opinion opener about what they're wearing? Or hi, I'm Jack. I'm used to opening. Hey, I thought you were cute. None of yours explicitly say cute.
Let me flip the script for you real quick. How would you feel if a girl came up to you and said, "Hey, you're white. Want to talk?" You'd be like, "Fucking what?" Right? Like that's essentially what you're doing whenever you open up by complimenting some natural characteristic of hers. Now, cute is a little bit better than just pointing out the race, but not by a whole lot. You're not saying anything about her, and it's such a nondescript word that in her mind, first of all, she's heard it all the time, right? She hears that kind of shit from guys who end up in the beta zone. And also, it doesn't tell her that you're paying any attention to her. If you compliment something that she's wearing or some color that she's dyed her hair or something like that, something she's specifically chosen for herself, then at the very least, she knows, one, he's paying a little bit of attention, and two, he can't say this to every girl because not every girl has this thing. Cute, though, you could be tossing that one out like candy, telling threes and twos that they're cute if you're dumpster diving. The point is that it doesn't tell anything. It doesn't communicate anything. Like, you would genuinely be better off if you wanted to go full direct. You would be way better off by just saying, "You look like the kind of girl I'd like to date. My name is Jack. What do you say we grab a drink sometime?" That is miles better than, "Hey, you're cute. Let's talk." Right? Because cute, let's talk it's not offering anything. It's not giving anything. It's not anything. It's just asking for her attention with nothing in return. What do you guys think? How do y'all feel about direct openers?
It's okay. For me, I also agree that stuff like "oh, you're cute" that is just useless. Simply because, first of all, they hear it all the time, and as you point out, it's not something they've chosen themselves. That's like saying, "Hey, congratulations! Your dad fucking your mom made something pretty," right? That's not your achievement.
Congratulations on your green eyes. I'm very proud of
Yeah,
you.
right.
I see you worked hard on that.
So, of course, going for something that is unique and special to this one person is obviously the best. And to be honest, the weirder, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going the weirder the better. If you say something that just kind of blows them away, and they'll remember you more for it. One time I complimented a girl's elbows and told her that she looks like she would give great massages with them. And she was just like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. And these things work so well because it's so off the wall, just so random and so unexpected because they've heard the beautiful eyes. They've heard you look pretty. They've heard you look like you're in great shape. They've heard the fashion. They've heard everything. Tell them something they've never heard. I guarantee it. Along with tell them they have they have nice knees. Something stupid,
You have nice knees.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, your knees.
I bet you're really good at skiing, aren't you? Fucking what?
You have really sharp knees.
Oh man, you look like the kind of girl who would look great in leopard print. Have you met Julius?
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not against direct openers, but if you're going direct, you need to be specific. And actually, I don't really love indirect openers. I gave so what the guy was referring to when he asked this question is he's referring to an article that I wrote years ago where I listed out 5 different types of openers with examples of each, and they all are on the calmer side of direct, or they're indirect, like the opinion opener or the triangulation, talking about some other thing, pairing yourselves up as some sort of partner or team or whatever. And those can work, but I feel like they're easier than direct openers when you're new to game, but the reason that they're easier is because they're less effective, and your ego lets you take those because it feels like, oh, if I go direct, then she'll know that I want to date her, and we don't want that. And it's like, fucking why not? Why wouldn't you want that? Right? Like, are you trying to trick her into dating you? No? Okay, then why wouldn't you want her to think that? Do you think that is she gonna be more interested in you later if she finds out that you were basically lying to her from the beginning? Like, that's not gonna help you much. And so for me personally, I usually go more direct, or like I said, the opener that I use more often than anything in the world is just, hey, I'm Jack. Nice to meet you. What's your name? And that works in any situation. It works in any place with any type of girl. It works at any level of sobriety, which is a very important quality for me. So yeah, like I don't really think that there's any need to hide it or couch your approach in some like asking for directions or something like that. Like you could, but it so rarely actually leads to a date after that. The triangulation can work better. The opinion can work quite well, but still not as well as just the simple, hey, I'm Jack. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Yeah, I remember one episode we had in Hongdae where we were just outside smoking or doing something, and then one of these cigarette boxes started smoking and catching fire. You remember that, Jack? You were there.
Who, me or Jack?
No, Jack. And then this small Korean girl went down and she just poured water into the bucket. And I'm like, instantly, okay, here, this is an opportunity to just go something nuts. I'm like, you're a hero and savior. How long have you been a fireman? Right? And I was like, okay, here, she is literally giving us an opportunity
Yeah.
to have fun and like do the
Yeah.
approach without any issue. And it can be super direct. And it's still like, okay, I'm still the only person that picked up on it.
Yeah.
And like everyone was just standing outside and doing their shit. And she was like, okay, she walked from inside the bar out, put out the fire, and then I interrupted on her on the way back, of course.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
And that works really well. I mean, that's basically indirect, right? You're talking about some other thing entirely. You're talking about the fire. So that's the triangulation strategy where like that can work in the right moment. When the opportunity is there, then now you've got a moment where it's you and her against the fire. And even though that's not what she planned, you just kind of hitched yourself to her wagon of like, all right, team firefighter, what's up? Right? Like, okay, cool.
Let's go grab a beer and then it's done.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Let's go celebrate our flaming success with with a beer. That works perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's always kind of just seizing on the opportunity. I had a similar experience with Jack's coworker that came out with him when I met them all last Saturday. And she's a Korean South African. And we had a friend who was just kind of like, what is going on? Because, South African. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's because she's not white. So everybody just started laughing, and it got her attention. It's just you got to kind of work with the opportunity that presents itself.
Yeah, she's a cool girl, too. I liked her.
Crazy accent.
Yeah. Yeah, so Testes666 tells us, looking for accessories would be good with earrings, rings, or even brooches. Yeah, I agree entirely.
That is awesome.
And I put that in the article too. Like, earrings are one of the best because you can say, oh my God, those are some cool earrings. And you can like reach in and like you're looking at them and you can break the touch barrier without being creepy, without being weird. It takes the right amount of confidence and self-assuredness to do that because she needs to feel comfortable with you doing that. And the only way that happens, weirdly enough, it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with you and what it is that you're projecting. I just don't know a better word for it. I know that sounds like fucking woo-woo science, but like if it seems like this is just the most natural thing in the world. This is the next step. Whenever I see cool earrings, I want to look closer at them. It's just normal. If that's what she feels from you, then it feels totally normal to her and she feels completely comfortable with it. But if you're like, oh, those are some pretty earrings, let me take a look. But like, oh, Jesus, fucking weirdo.
This creepy status. It also helps if you actually have earrings of your own, so it gives you something in common with them. So you guys can actually have like a full-blown conversation with bracelets, earrings, all sorts of random shit. It's really weird how that just kind of works in your favor.
Yeah. Or, I mean, and the same, like a lack thereof. right? Like if you say like, oh, those are some really cool earrings. I was thinking about getting the same ones.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Would they look pretty on me? Would they match my hair? Like you can.
Will they go with my bag?
It literally doesn't matter what your situation is.
Yeah.
You can adapt, improvise, and overcome. You can do it.
Yeah,
You can do it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
The kid, what's our next question?
Yeah, for sure. So next up, and this one's going to be a Korea specific one about like Hongdae area. But this user is asking thoughts on hotels such in the area, when to book, where are some good last minute places to book, etc. For example, I have to travel about 1.5 hours to get to the Hongdae area. If I'm trying to get a lay on the spot, when is best to book a hotel, or is an Airbnb more affordable? If I didn't book one ahead of the time, where's some good place to go when it's already 2 a.m.? I know Hongdae is a little bit more specific, but you can make it more general about going to a place that isn't close to your home.
For sure, going for Airbnbs might be the best for like last minute bookings. And one good tip is actually if you're going out is before you go out, actually favorite the places that allows for instant bookings.
Yes.
So like you can just say it's now 3 a.m. and you need a place because you are getting lucky.
Yeah.
You can just open your app and which one is still available, and you click it, book it, and then you go straight there.
Oh wow.
Like that is my absolute like
It
if you
gives you
book
like pins and shit to be able to like go inside and
yeah. So like
Wow.
you need things that are completely keyless and you can book on the spot.
Yeah.
They aren't that frequent, but you definitely can find them, especially in the party areas.
Yeah, I don't think that they're that hard to find, right? Because most of the Airbnbs, especially around Hongdae, they're all set up to basically be self-managing, where when you book the thing, it
Yeah.
instantly sends you a message like, okay, here's the new key code to the place. Here's the time when you're allowed to check in. Here's the time that you need to be out by the next day. And it just gives you everything that you need right there in an instant message. So yeah, I'd say Airbnb is the best way to go.
Yeah, I had
One of
that.
the issues can be that when you book for today, like say it's 1 a.m. and then you kind of try to book for right now, then they might not have opened so that you can actually book the existing day. So that's actually an
That's
issue.
possible. That's possible.
The same actually goes for hotels. At that point, then you actually have to go to the hotel to figure out if they actually have rooms or not.
I
Me
mean-
and Caesar actually had a episode of that.
Yeah, that's true. Remember, God, that's like that was like that random Thursday night we're supposed to get a beer.
Yeah, that guy. That day, you guys are just come have a few beers with us in Hongdae.
It was
And me and
dangerous,
Caesar stumbled into Mercury at like 4 a.m.
I remember that. That was
Shit
that was
happens. in
crazy.
Hongdae. Shit happens. Yeah, I know that now Hongdae has more motels and stuff. They used to not have any around Hongdae, but there are some now that are popping up. As well, if you go the other way, like away from Shinchon and towards Hapjeong, I know that there are some love motels down there by Hapjeong. It's not ideal, but again, actually though, if you book an Airbnb ahead of time, right? Like if you know, oh, I'm planning to be out until forever o'clock, then if you can find a not completely shit Airbnb in the area for like $35-$40 for one night or something like that, it might be worth it to book it up front and just worst case scenario be like, all right, well, I've got a crash pad, so
Yeah.
you know.
I know there's a place I used to frequent where like if you would go after 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, something like that, it would be like 40,000 won, and it was like still on the main University Avenue. Cheap as shit hotel motel, you know. So if you run out of options, like you can't book online or book a hotel, there's Shincheon, which is like love Motel Land. So like if you
Yeah.
really are pressed, you can always just go there and try your luck. There's always a room there.
Yeah.
I've been a million times.
Yeah.
For
And I mean, for those of you who actually got the Corona Busters course back when we were still running that thing, there's a whole video in there where Rich and I talked for about an hour about how to actually set up and the logistics of having sex outdoors. And so, like, if you're really that hard up for a place, there are alleys and rooftops around. I mean, not ideal, not the most romantic thing in the world, but if you can spin it as like, hey, I have a really exciting idea. So there's this thing I've been wanting to try, and I've never had a chance to. But how would you feel about on a rooftop? Let's go up onto a rooftop and look down on people while we're banging it out. Like, okay, cool. Like you could spin it into a more exciting thing and save yourself the $40. Not ideal. Not ideal. So we got a question here from Manganiello, who says, "What are you guys doing to get past the instant no? Hey, but like a lot of girls are just instantly saying no before I can even ask the question. There's nothing to do to get past it. That's fine. That's part of it, right? Like, it's possible that there's something missing, that you aren't looking like the right type of person in this type of place, that you aren't calibrated enough, that something's off with your body language. That's all possible. But no matter how perfect you get all of those things, there are still going to be girls who just instantly next you. And the fact is, they might not even be nexting you. They might just be like, no, I'm on my way to something right now. I'm running late, or no, I have to take a shit right now. And I'm not stopping to talk to you, right? Like you don't know what's going on with her. Those will always exist. That's just a part of, approaching, right? Like now, if you notice that you're getting instantly blown out like 90% or something like that, okay, there's probably an issue in some of those other things. Maybe your body language, maybe how you're dressed, maybe how you're coming off, something like that. But if it's, I'd say if it's under 50%, then you're probably just fine.
Yeah, I think you can actually pull it as far as long as it's less than 60-70% on, like if you go out on say mid like 2 p.m. on a Saturday in Hongdae, yeah, your ratio for instant no's is probably going to be in the 50-60 percentile, simply because people are busy, people have places to go, and you have no information about the person before you approach.
Yeah.
So like,
just don't take it personal,
Yeah,
some women, like I notice this a lot with Western women. It's not because they don't like you, it's because they're here because they're K-boos and they want to meet a Korean guy. Obviously we don't fit the bill.
So why would you go for a white girl in Korea?
Exactly. Why would I? But sometimes we have needs, and we all go dumpster diving from time to time. So,
well, I mean, like the same could be true of the Korean men or the Korean women, where they're only interested in Korean men.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If she's just like, nope, sorry, don't speak, and that's basically the same. If a girl says, I don't know English, sorry, it's the same as her just nexting you, right? Like it's the exact same.
They don't want to put up with the language barrier, Google Translate, whatever. Just don't take it hard. It's just what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, like
I hate saying that, but it's the truth.
Like you can compare it to being like cold approaching on the street. You can literally compare it to being a phone salesman. How many of all those cold calls you just got not interested, right?
Yeah.
But it's not about they're not interested. It's about I have 2 minutes to spare.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, right? It's about like approaching is not necessarily about if you get rejected or not. It's about finding the one girl that is interested in talking to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about yes or no. It's about, I think this can go.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, I think that's exactly it. We've got another one here in the comments. Are there sometimes you just don't feel like talking to girls? I tried today in tennis club, but I felt tired. The conversation ended quickly, and also she started talking with another friend. If you're feeling tired or just not the moment of the day or something else, yes, that can happen. That's part of it. But also, you can use state control to minimize that. And I've talked about this before. And I mean, for any of the guys who have been out with me, you've seen me actively use this where, like, okay, if I want to get into an upbeat state, right? Like maybe we're out filming, we're doing just, work stuff all day, and then like, okay, cool, it's time to go out and talk to girls. All right. And I have a song that I always put on. And for me, it's Tower of Power's Soul with a capital S. Your song is probably not going to be the same as mine. And there's a good reason for that, because this is a song that for me always puts me in an upbeat, excited state. I'm ready to talk to people. I get physically moving. You can create some kind of trigger for yourself that helps you to instantly return to whatever it is, whatever the state is that you want to create. I also have songs that I use for if I want to concentrate on something. Paul, you've probably seen sometimes if I need to make like a clutch shot in beer pong, I'll take my earphones out, put them in, and I'll put on Beethoven's Third Symphony, because to me, that always just puts me in like focus. Da, 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 da. Okay, here we go. Shot! Right? And that kind of like, you can use anchors to control your mental state like that. So
Yeah,
yes,
like
it is part of it.
yeah, I remember specifically that like where we meet up in Hongdae, we're both hungover from the day before. Okay, we're doing this approaching weekend and we're approaching so many people.
Oh
And
yeah.
okay, it's 12, it's noon on a Saturday, it's COVID times, it's not that much people out, and you just need to get into the mood and get ready to talk to people. We go grab a coffee, you put your phone under your backpack, and then you start playing Uptown Funk, and we just go ham down the street, right? And then you get to the point where the song is over. Okay, now we're in the zone to actually talk to people, and
Yeah.
then you're over it, and then you kind of reset that way, and then you go up and down, and then you get into a slump, and okay, let's go get a beer somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's 4 p.m. We go to first places that open. We grab a beer. We go out of there again, and back with the phone, on with the music, get back into the mood, and go.
Exactly. Yeah, you can use that to move up and down throughout the day as you need. All right. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm used to approaching it. Just seems like a lot higher percentage here. Like I'd maybe get an instant no a third of the time in Canada or something like that. It just seems higher. That it probably is. And I mean, you've been here for like 2 months, right?
I
So
think
you're definitely not like calibrated 100% to coming off correctly to Koreans yet.
I know that there's also a bit of a cultural thing here too. Most Korean women, they feel like you need to be introduced to them, and so they're kind of not used to a lot of cold approaching. You'll have to figure it out in a
Yeah.
bit, and so yeah, it's probably why the rejection's a little higher here. It's not because you look like a foot; it's because they have weird rules here.
Also, there's the booking club scouts and people like that. The guys who work for the clubs that are always chasing girls down and like, hey, wait, let me get you, right? Like, and they're always trying to chase these girls down. So whenever you're coming up, just trying to be friendly, start up a conversation, it's kind of been ruined for a lot of these girls by things like that. Now you can push past that and you can get your percentages better, but I mean, like I was telling Paul, or like Paul and I were saying, right? Like 50 to 60% of instant no's is like it's probably about fine.
There's specifically at least 3 or 4 more things you have to consider here, or in Korea, that is gonna be different from when you do it in your own home country. First of all, you are approaching them in what is a foreign language to them, so there is instantly a somewhat of a language barrier, especially if you are meeting, like, a lot of Koreans are not comfortable talking English. It's not that they don't understand; it's just that they're not comfortable.
mhm.
The second thing is, yes, there are a fair share of Koreans that have been brought up in such a way that dating foreigners is a no-no, like a big, huge no-no. And then that's fine. Like, some people are like that.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is, like, you have people here in Korea, a lot of girls have very specific no traits in guys' appearance, at least what I've been experiencing.
Mhm.
And the 2 biggest things that seem to be like a trigger for people or 3 biggest things that have seemed for me like a trigger has been here. If you are or not wearing a cap, because if you're wearing a cap, a lot of girls will assume that it's because you're bald. And
Hatfish.
the third is
Unless
if
it's a
you,
fish, in which case they just assume you're fucking awesome.
yeah, right. That's kind of funny. And then the last one is beard. Like, big beards seem to scare more Korean girls off than necessarily being either light or no beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asia's very weirdly anti-beard. I have noticed that, and Korean women have a very fierce reaction against bald men. It's really weird.
Julius, you remember when I had my Bin Laden?
Yo, yeah, I remember
So,
that.
so here's the thing:
Terrorist beard.
is that bad boy? Yeah, I looked like a mujahideen. It was like
Yep.
down to my titties,
Mhm.
and
You look at the one that the American one that defected to Al Qaeda.
yeah, basically. So whenever I had that beard, it would, like, 90% of girls wanted nothing to do with me, but the 10% were so into me that it
Mm.
didn't fucking matter, because they would approach me and they'd be like, "Oh my god, can I pet it?" Like, okay, yes, but if you're gonna pet it, you have to name it first. What should we name it? Okay, cool. And then now we're already having fun, right? And like, it's
Mm.
it's a hop, skip, and a jump from there to my bed, right? Like it.
I remember.
So it, yeah, right. Like, you were there for that, and so it. Don't worry too much about the no's that you get. Focus on optimizing the yeses. Figure out, where am I getting yeses? Who am I getting interest from? How can I better optimize my game to the girls who are already interested in me? Because there's no point in trying to get everyone to want to stop and talk to you. You could do that, but no one's going to be deeply interested in you. And so instead, you focus in on the girls who are already interested. So I hope that makes sense for you. The kid, you got any others for us? I think that I saw some more going through.
Yeah, so let's kind of keep it on the similar vein of kind of the cold approach,
Sure.
right? So I know you guys are mentioning there's a couple instant reasons might be maybe for a no, like a beard, etc., like maybe bald, etc. But when you are approaching, right, let's say if you're looking at it from a skill perspective, right, besides what you're saying, what else should you be aware of? Like body language, how you're dressed, etc.
Well, you definitely shouldn't run up behind a girl, because Korean girls are skittish as fuck. And so
Mhm.
if you come up behind or even beside her, it's gonna scare her, and that's not what you want to begin with, right? So even if uh Paul, you probably remember whenever we were doing the boot camp weekend,
Mm.
if you're out and you're walking past a girl and then you spot her and now you want to approach her, you should turn around and jog back to then approach her from the front. Like, you want to get maybe 5 or 6 meters ahead of her and then flip around and approach her from the front. Not head on, because if you're doing that, it feels like trains are about to collide, right? But
Mhm.
coming in it, this is very hard to do from here. But basically,
Like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, almost a 45-degree angle. You should be walking towards her, set so that if you kept going, your shoulders would bump into each other, but nothing else. Like that's about where you want to be. And then when you get closer, then you turn in and you get her attention. And that gives her the freedom to, like, if she's gonna nope out, she's fine. Like, it's not like you're trying to trap her there. You do not want her to feel trapped. If she feels that at all, even a little bit, then she's gonna get the fuck out of there, right? But you want to make it clear that you're approaching her, make eye contact, wave, do something. Hey, that anything, any kind of body language to point out that you want to talk to her, but don't try to be very conscious of not making her feel trapped.
Yeah, and another thing is definitely like 5-6 meters is when you should start. Like you should show her that you noticed her already.
Yeah.
And then do the approach, and as you get closer to maybe 3 meters, slow down, and you should almost have stopped when she has like 2 meters left to reach you.
Yeah.
Simply because then she feels safe. Okay, she knows you're gonna talk to her, but she feels that okay, this person is shown me respect and like okay, already made my intentions clear. But I still give her that way of leaving by positioning myself so that she has plenty of space to walk out of here if she wants to.
Yeah.
And then you basically open up when, like, before you get too close, like maybe the like meter and a half ish meter maybe, then you start talking to her, because then she feels comfortable in the space that she's in, and most likely they're gonna stop.
Yeah.
And as you said, like when we were doing this on the bootcamp weekend, you had me do these exact approaches, even if there were 2 or 3 girls going together. I still have to go stop them alone. And just that, then it also plays into this thing, because if you want to talk to the one that is on the inside, you still have to approach the one on the outside.
Yeah.
Because you need to make both of them stop, but then you need to be very fast and figure out, okay, who is the boss and how can you include the person that you actually want to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, you have to
the
figure out
boss
who's
is
the
very important.
HBIC. Yeah, I mean that's a whole different topic. Maybe remind me, and I'll talk about opening groups of girls next week. But yeah, as to the other things you mentioned, the kid, as to like what you're wearing, things like that. I'm gonna be real with you, man. The best thing that you can wear is whatever you're most comfortable with, because if you try to dress for a reason in a way that you're not comfortable, it's not going to come off as a good thing. It's not going to be an improvement. I mean, you've seen the shit that I go out in, and it has never affected me negatively. But the reason for that is because it's not a show. It's not peacocking. It's genuinely what I like to wear, right? Like I just wear wild shit, but it's something that I enjoy. I also always wear t-shirts. I never wear long sleeve shirts or sweaters or like fancy jackets or vests or anything like that. You'll never, except for maybe a fucking wedding, you'll never see me in anything with buttons. Like, it's just what I'm most comfortable in. So it comes across much better and much more confidently than if I tried to suit up to try and impress the girls or something like that. Like, that doesn't work the way that you think that it works in your head.
I think other than that, like, so of course your style has to be congruent with who you are.
Yeah.
So that is one thing, but definitely being well groomed is a very important thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yes, if you come there and your hair looks oily and fatty and like it's kind of sticking out here and there, it's not gonna work. Come on.
Yeah. If
Like,
you haven't showered in
shower, good
Yeah,
hygiene. Hygiene is paramount.
yeah, like if
There's a reason
you
why.
show that you don't take care of yourself, why would a girl ever believe you would take care of
Right.
her?
right? Like, make sure your mouth is washed. You're wearing deodorant. Make sure you're clean. Make sure you don't smell like you just got out of bed or like you just came from the gym. That's all really gross.
Yeah.
We're already known to be a group of people that smell differently from them.
Yeah.
Don't be known to be a guy that stinks, because that
Exactly right.
repels women like crazy. So,
Well, and
just be confident
imagine
in
if you're
what you wear.
imagine if you're at a bar and you're 2 feet away from her and she can already smell your BO. How stinky is your junk gonna be? Right? Like she's not gonna want to go anywhere near it. So
Or your house or your bed. Ugh, Jesus,
exactly.
so
Like
much,
when was the last time you washed your sheets? Right?
Mhm.
Like if you can't keep your fucking armpits clean, she's gonna assume the rest is also just
And that's one thing about Itaewon, about the Thursday party there. It has a bad rap because everyone thinks that the men there stink. Every time you go there, it smells like a gym. Why? Because fucking foreign men have a reputation of smelling weird,
Yeah.
especially if you're from some part of the world.
Another thing that actually helps a lot is if you're a person that normally wears white shoes, if your white shoes are full of dust and like you have all of these gray stains on them, that even though it's a very small thing, that is one of those subtle cues that girls pick up on instantly.
chicks notice.
And yeah,
They notice
and
everything.
I wear white shoes all the time, but I am notorious that every single time I come home, it's either when I come home or I wake up the day after. The first thing I do is I wash my white shoes. And I have been given that question so many times. Like, you wear white shoes, you wear white shoes to nightclubs, you wear them on the street, you wear them when it's raining. How can they always be so fucking shiny white? I take care of them. And that, for some weird reason, that actually sparks interest.
It
But
does.
that works very well for girls you see often. But also, it's one of those clues that kind of can set girls off on first dates. And when you do approach this, because, okay, this guy has blood stain on his shoes. Why the fuck would I talk to him, right? Because that is one of the first things girls notices.
Poor stallion.
Jesus, yeah, those are brand new too. That guy, that
Well,
fucking
look, yeah, like if you want to wear white shoes, that's fine. Pay the cost. You know the cost, pay the cost. Or if you don't want to pay the cost, find a different way instead. Like I wear flip flops pretty much everywhere. Why? Because I don't want to fucking wash shoes. I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. Now, I have to deal with other stuff every time I get home or into anywhere. I have to instantly wash my feet because they're just covered in the stuff from outside. It's a different cost, but that's a cost I'm willing to pay. I'm not willing to shine white shoes. Okay, that's fine. You figure out what it is you want, you figure out what the cost is, and then you pay it. Now we've got another one here in the comments. Before it was mentioned, you have a girls type list that's pretty much universal. How long do you find it takes to calibrate to a new place or country? For the types of girls, it really doesn't. Like, you can, no matter where you go in the world, you can spot a worker bee. You can spot a prude. You can spot a slut. You can spot a shy girl. You can spot a gold digger, right? Like the exact intricacies of how they come across, how they display themselves, things like that. Those might be a little bit different from place to place, but as far as the types go, there's really not that much different between them.
Yeah, I think maybe he also kind of is wondering how long it takes to calibrate to like doing
Yeah, like
approaches,
figuring out what you like.
figuring out how your game in this to do your game in that country. And I would say it depends. If you go from Korea to Japan, maybe not that long. If you go from Saudi Arabia to Korea, then that's night and day, right?
Yeah.
For me, it took about 2 to 3. Like it started slow rolling after about 2 months,
Yeah.
but then it really snowballed. And then after 3, 4 months, it was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the first month or so, you're getting acclimated to the culture, to what people do, to, I mean, even just to the places to go, right? Because that's actually, if anybody's watching this and you're not in the Discord community, that's one of the best things in there is you can say, okay, cool. What are the best areas around? Okay, this is where I'm living. Is there anything cool around here? Someone in there absolutely knows.
Mm.
And if it's in or around Solar Incheon, I know. But if it's in other places, there are other guys in the community who know, and even in other countries, right? Because we've got guys in there from what, probably 12 to 15 different countries. And so there are people in there who will know. So figuring out the places, figuring out like what's allowed, what's not, what am I getting like death stares on the street for? Oh shit, can't wear the fish hat here or whatever, right? Like, okay, figure out certain things. It takes a little bit, but
Yeah, and just getting your
Yeah.
routine together in the new place too takes some time.
yeah,
I really do think that having this group in the Discord and all that
yeah,
will accelerate that, because we could kind of steer you and point you in the right direction and tell you what's worked for us and what hasn't, and we could kind of create like a consensus on what it
Mm.
works and doesn't.
yeah,
So it should, I think, significantly shave off time for like anyone who just doesn't have that. So
yeah. Well, and here's the thing is that if your game is excellent, it still takes time to calibrate to a new place, to a new country. And so like that's how I first met Rich, because he knew game, but he didn't know Korea at all. And so
Mhm.
he actually hired me to coach him to basically just like, all right, let's speed up this acclimation process from a month to a month and a half, and we'll just take it to a weekend. Cool. Now I got what I needed to know, right? Just get a primer
Yeah.
on this is
Mm.
how things work here.
Mhm.
And like the boot camps they're useful for guys who have trouble with approaching period, but also they're really useful as I know how to talk to women, I know game, I know what I'm doing, but I need to know the local culture, I need to know the places to go, I need to know what kinds of approaches work here, what I need to steer clear of, like all that stuff. Like it's always helpful to get in-person help and advice, because that's going to be 100 times better than anything on the internet, without a question.
Okay.
Cool. The kid, do you have anything else for us?
No, I think that's about
No.
it.
All right. Cool. Then that's probably where we're going to end this one for today. Uh, guys, thank you for joining. From now, it wants to get dark. Look at you, camera. I fucking see you. One of these days, Alice. Boom and to the moon. So I appreciate all you guys for joining us. Paul, Julius, the kid, thank you for your time and for your opinions on this stuff. And for you guys in the comment section and in the Discord community, thank you guys too. Much love. And I'll see you guys next week. So until then, Papa Jack out.